Awesome. We're back today. Turn your CRM into a sales weapon. Today, we're talking about how to use your CRM effectively. Are you still using spreadsheets and email inboxes? I know a lady who uses her email to organize everything and by project and by person. And it's a lot. It's a lot. But having a CRM can really help you in your life. I know this from experience. I use the CRM to just pretty much run my whole business. So that's what we're talking about today. And before we get started, I just wanted to remind you to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share with others. Okay, other people who colleagues and business partners who need to know this information, right? So let's get started. We are Nate and Simone, and we talk all things marketing. Hey, Nate.
Hey, how we doing? Back
Great.
again here. Yeah,
Yeah. So
talking
today it's
about
all about
one of our favorite things.
CRMs.
Yeah.
Yeah. CRMs are actually one of my favorite things.
Mhm.
I never really, I'd heard it, I don't know, it's been a few years. I've heard the term CRM, customer relationship manager. I was like, okay, it sounds
Yeah.
like a giant software program
Yeah.
that was just super complicated to use. And
Yeah.
I didn't really, I saw it as something that only like an enterprise company would use,
Yep.
or a company that had to manage like 300 employees or something like that. Like
Yep.
for a long time, I never saw it as something that um, even a solopreneur could use and could benefit from.
Well, I'll tell you, I worked for a company that was about 800 people prior to doing what I'm doing now. And they are a company that's been around for more than 120 years. Okay.
Hmm.
And the CRM, quote unquote, that we were using was Microsoft Outlook.
Oh, well,
try
you know
try using
what? Well,
that.
yeah, it's email. Why was I thinking Microsoft Access? Access is the old
Yeah,
database platform, which
yeah,
I'm thinking, okay, well, in Microsoft Access, you can actually create databases, although that's a lot of hard work. Like why create it
yes,
all yourself when you just buy one off the shelf, right?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, in Outlook, it can get messy.
Oh, totally,
Folders
totally.
everywhere, and anybody gets hold of your email address. Now you not only have client customer information in there, colleague information in there, team information in there, but now you also have junk mail in there, and it just
Exactly,
it gets murky.
exactly. And there's no real good way to resurface important information later on.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
can, I think at least when I was using it, which was, a while ago now, but at that time, we're talking maybe like 5 years ago or so. The last time I was using it, because I quickly got out of that as fast as I could. But there were no like reminders that I could find, and trying
Right.
to do like a email campaign was an absolute
Mhm.
nightmare. You can't do that out of
No.
at least
Oh, yes.
not back then. I don't,
People
maybe you can
still,
now, but yeah,
well, the crazy thing is, like, people still do, they'll send out a broadcast email
yeah.
and they'll
Put
send
it
it
in
to
BCC.
themselves and put
Yeah,
everybody's name in the
yeah,
BCC. And
yeah.
and I'll look at that and I'm going, oh,
I
wait,
did
they
that.
sent this to themselves. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I see what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Yeah, this isn't how you do this, people.
yeah. Exactly.
um, and it's, if you're sending out a broadcast email, aren't you legally obligated as a business to give people the option to opt out? If there's
Yeah,
no link to
I
opt
I
out,
wasn't
then
sure about all that because
yeah,
here I was a sales guy trying to do marketing's job, but
you're not doing it right if there's no opt-out link at the bottom and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
BCCing your whole list.
yeah,
Um,
not a good idea.
yeah, and then some people make the mistake of putting everybody's name not in the BCC, they'll put it in the CC. and then somebody wants to reply and they
Inevitably,
reply to
there's some
all.
mess ups. Yeah, it's way too easy to mess it up.
It's a
Way too
mess.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Can get in some hot
Um,
water.
exactly. So, all right. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Now, again, that was an 800 person business without a CRM. Blows my mind. Um, but anyway, needless to say, the point being here, CRMs can make your life a lot easier. They can help you to, uh, believe it or not, increase your revenue by doing just what I said, like as an example, resurfacing important information and making it timely so that you can get in contact with the person and, maybe convert them, follow them up, nurture them, etc., whatever that may be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's important. So let's talk a little bit about why CRMs fail in most businesses. Common problem number one: there's no consistent process for updating it. Um, CRM sounds nice at the start, right? It seems like, oh, this is going to be one single source of truth. Everybody's going to be in on it. All the salesmen
Do
are going to
so
have all the
much.
notes on
Yeah.
everybody. It's going to be easy
Yeah.
if somebody is sick or somebody's out of the office to kind of pick up right where they left off, and it's going to be magical. We're not going to drop no sales are going to get dropped. It's going to be great.
Mm.
But if you don't have a process for keeping that up to date, or actually using it, putting it to use, especially early on, if you're trying to that transition
Yeah.
period, going from no CRM to CRM, and people are kind of like, oh, what is this? What do I do?
Mm.
Extremely important to have some kind of a plan in place, right? Um, Number two, no defined pipeline stages. One of the key features, in my opinion, of having a CRM is, like I said, I mentioned earlier, resurfacing important information, following up, nurturing. All
Mhm.
of that could be considered part of your pipeline. You know,
Right.
being
You
able to
know what?
see the different stages that a contact is in.
That a contact is in it. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, there is, especially if you have a pretty much an overall funnel, right? You have this a set a set journey set out that you want your prospects to follow. Um, I was talking to a colleague a while back, and he was saying how he was taught to set up his pipeline stages as cold, warm, and hot. And I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. So, um, what brings them into the cold stage, and what takes them out of the hot stage, and what's happening in between? If you wanted
yeah,
to find out exactly what's happening with any given prospect in any of these stages, how do you know? All it says is cold, warm, and hot. It really doesn't tell you much.
yeah,
So I showed him how I set up my pipeline stages, right? If somebody were to say they took my quiz, then they would automatically be added to the lead magnet stage. In the lead magnet stage, I know that they've expressed interest in my lead magnet. I can now follow up based on that. If they schedule a call with me, they can be in that stage, and I can follow up with them based on that, right? Um, are they getting a follow-up call? Have they already had a call, and are they in the consideration phase? And I can follow up based on that. But if it's just cold, warm, and hot, that doesn't really tell you much about what's going on.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
those pipeline stages are they can be used in such a way to really personalize your interactions with your clients and prospects if
yeah,
you use
so
them right.
yeah, to your point, like, it's at the very least, having pipeline tells you why you should contact this person and when.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's a
but
great visual of
mhm,
where people are. And if you're coming back day after day, week after week, and this one person is in this one stage like for a good long time, then
mhm,
yeah, that that's a visual indication that, okay, something needs to happen here. This person needs to move. I need to follow up. They need to follow something. We need
Yeah.
to move them along.
Yep. But it also allows you to track your revenue. Like you have an idea
Hmm.
of what, realistically you can expect for how much revenue you have in your pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Which helps lead into planning, for the next year. So
Mhm.
if it takes, what, $100,000 worth of revenue in your pipeline to make, $2,000, right?
Mhm.
Then if you want to make $100,000 next year, you're going to have to figure out how many hundreds of thousands you're going to need in your pipeline to get there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Another thing too I thought about is that your pipeline, it can be a great visual representation of where people are getting stuck.
yeah,
If you're getting thousands of people interested in your lead magnet, but very few of them are moving on to the next step. That could be an indicator of several different issues, like great lead magnet, but wrong audience. They're not actually
mhm,
interested in your core offer, or
mhm,
great lead magnet, but the core offer doesn't really take them naturally to that next step, or,
yeah,
you know,
too big of a
something
step,
like that.
maybe.
Maybe too big of a step, maybe too big of a price jump between the lead magnet and your core offer. Um,
Yeah,
so it can show like the indications. If a lot of people are stuck in okay, you've had the call with them, but they're just considering it and nothing ever happens after that. Well, maybe there's something up with the sales process now, you know.
but as they
Um,
say, what gets measured gets managed, right? So
exactly.
if you're not tracking it, you're not measuring it, you're going to forget about it,
Right.
and it's not going to get managed. Um,
Uh,
all right,
oh,
so
sorry.
go ahead.
Before we go on, one other thing too, because we talked about earlier, one of the problems is like there's no consistent process for updating or
Yes,
using your CRM.
yeah,
One of the things I wanted to mention too is that when you create a system for your business, and it sounds great up front, right? You've sat down, you've done the work, you've hammered out your processes, you've decided to design a system, you've employed a CRM, all of your people are on it. Now comes the work of really training your people and training yourself to plug in and activate that new system, because the system doesn't get activated by itself. You have to use it. Then
yeah,
you and your team have to adopt it. Otherwise, it's a beautiful system, but we have no idea
yeah,
if it works well for us because nobody uses it, right?
yeah.
So part of building out a new system is training ourselves to actually use it and activate it properly. So yeah, I wanted to mention
Having
that.
Yeah, having it attached to your goals, the company goals, I think is important in that case,
Hmm.
to make it
Absolutely.
usable so that it's immediately obvious. Okay, I have to do this because I want to get this, right?
Hmm.
If you're the CEO of the company, I want to increase our revenue by 300,000 by the end of the year. Okay. In order to get that, one of the ways I need to do that is by implementing the CRM, having a follow-up nurture process in place where we're tracking that information, we're making it accessible. It's a single source of truth about the people that we're selling to make it easier for the sales team to make those conversions to increase their revenue, right?
Absolutely. Oh,
I don't know how else you're going to do it, really. I mean, it's winging a prayer, I guess. But my guess is that's what's gotten you
which
here.
doesn't work,
You
right?
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
worked that well,
yeah. Or it
right?
did for a while,
Mhm.
you know. But eventually things fall apart, as they say, right?
Yeah,
Um, okay, so the third problem or a reason why CRMs fail, there's no automation or there's no follow-up built into the program. Having to bolt that on somewhere else can make it cumbersome and tedious. I know this from experience. I have attempted this. And yeah, just if you can have something that does all of the things well in one spot, that is the unicorn, right? That's what you're looking for.
Wonderful. I think
Um,
I think that's um, also like training your team and acclimating your team to using the
yeah.
CRM comes in as well, because you can build out, depending on what CRM you're using, you can build out lots of great automations and stuff. But
Mhm.
if people are just so stuck in doing it the way that they've been doing it, then your CRM becomes a great tool for holding data, but not
Mhm.
actually using it to workflow your data.
Yep, exactly. Um, eh, I think that automation part is crucial because you're offloading the the necessary step of having to remember following up with people
Mhm.
onto
Absolutely.
the machine, onto the automation, which is great, right? That is using a tool in your tool belt and putting it to its a good use to help you. Um, Anyway, I think automation next to air conditioning is one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century, right?
Isn't it though? It's wonderful. Absolutely. And I
Uh,
know it in my life, that's for sure.
yeah.
It's been
Um,
fabulous.
okay. So the fourth reason why CRMs fail. Sales teams see it as admin work and not as a growth tool. And this goes back to consistent process for updating and using it, right? It's a vicious circle here, you know.
Isn't it right?
If your
That is
team
true.
does not see the point, they're not going to update it.
Right.
And thus you have all these problems that stem from that situation. So having a plan in mind, having it attached to the goals, bringing everybody in on the plan, getting them to see the big picture, what we're going
Yeah.
for here, I think is crucial, right?
So yeah, so you have to like train your team to not only use it to put data in, but show them how to pull data out of it when they are looking for information, for answers, for
Yeah,
data on a particular prospect or client or um,
making sure that they know what automations are actually in place,
mhm,
so they're not doing double duty.
right? How to
Right?
aggregate that data, how to
Nothing
look at the
nothing more
analytics that the
frustrating to
CRM is
send a
collecting.
yeah, nothing more frustrating than to send an email realizing that the system has already sent the email, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's true too, right?
That'll shoot motivation right through the floor. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so um, another thing, underutilization, right? Uh, I think this is I think that this was kind of a plague with businesses that were attempting to implement Salesforce. And
Mm,
this actually caused a sprouting up of a lot of like Salesforce agencies to help businesses to actually implement the things that are in Salesforce because it is insanely extensive.
it's a
There's a
monster.
lot
It's
there.
huge.
And
I think I've heard the same thing with Keep as well. Before when it was Infusionsoft. Um, I
yes,
heard that like there's a lot in it. You can do a lot, and but as soon as you get it, you're gonna have to rely on an Infusionsoft expert because
mhm,
there is no way that you're going to be able to go in there and set it up yourself and be able to use it to its fullest capacity
yeah,
because it's just such a big monster. And I guess I can pretty much say the same thing for the one I use now too, right? Um,
yeah.
it's an all-in-one tool. It's not just a CRM. So a lot of people they see the feature list and they think, oh wow, this thing can basically run my business. So let me get it.
Right.
And they just let it sit on the shelf
And,
because
and
they
they and
believe
they
it's
see they see
overwhelming.
automation. They think, oh, well, it's going to do it automatically, right? Unfortunately,
Oh,
we're not there yet.
sorry, it doesn't do your thinking for you.
The
Sorry.
setting up and tuning and optimizing to your business is not automated. So
Exactly.
yeah,
It doesn't know who you are just
yeah.
by you handing over your credit card.
Unfortunately, not yet, not yet.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, Keep does say in their marketing, you don't have to automate everything, right?
Mhm.
You shouldn't try to. And this is something that I tell people, don't try to automate everything. Try, do the top three things. Right?
Mhm.
What top three things do I have to get automated now to free up my
And get off
time,
your plate. Yeah,
bandwidth?
absolutely.
Start there and work your
That
way
makes sense.
into making more automations. But 10 to 20% of the CRM's capabilities is what most businesses actually use. And so you probably want to get a little bit more use out of it, I think, for your dollar, especially if it does all these different things, right? And
Or well, yeah, like you said, you start with your, 2 to 3 biggest things that you want to automate and,
yeah,
get those going and then go from there. And, eventually you may get up to 70, 80% of its
yeah, yeah,
capability.
hmm
I doubt anybody uses like all of the capabilities simply because
right, yeah,
a lot of these systems are made for different types of businesses.
yes,
I know high level is it's made for different types of businesses. So um, an online business isn't going to use necessarily all of the capabilities of the reputation management or even like maybe even the voice AI. But
hmm
because you don't put your phone number out there, you don't take phone calls really. But a
yeah,
local brick and mortar business,
yeah,
that stuff is like golden for them. They absolutely need that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But if you are a small business or a startup just getting started with a CRM, you probably are only going to use a certain small percentage of that CRM because you want to have a CRM that's going to allow you to grow. So keep that in mind too.
That's another thing too. Yeah. Um, yeah. So
All
that's
right.
where I think cost comes into it as well,
Yeah.
because I think there are CRMs that are recommended for smaller companies,
hmm
but they let you grow to a certain point, and then from there you have to move to something with more capabilities.
Yeah.
Or I suppose you could go with something. I think people get intimidated too with the bigger ones, like, but I'm just small. But you also want to, I mean, think of the future. Do you want to stay small? Do you want to
Yeah.
stay that? Maybe go with something that's going to allow you to grow, so that when you get to a certain point, you don't necessarily have to move. Because I
Right.
have heard that when you are migrating from one CRM to another, the notes are one thing that they really don't want you to take, and so they make
I think
it
I've told you that.
difficult. They want you to
Yeah.
leave. So they're like, nope,
Yeah.
sorry, you can't take your notes with you. Like,
hmm Probably,
that's
probably the
difficult.
most crucial information about each contact, right?
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah.
of how they get you roped in, unfortunately. Yeah. But
Hmm.
okay. So there is an opportunity cost involved with using your CRM poorly. And so let's run through some of those. One is if you miss those follow-ups, that equates to
Okay,
lost deals, obviously, right?
right.
Um, I've heard different things about follow-ups, and depending on who you ask, the number seems to be kind of nebulous. But my what I've personally put together from the things that I read and people that I've talked to is you have to have a minimum of 5 follow-ups. Um, and but by doing so, you beat out 98% of the competition and vastly increase the chances that you're going to make a conversion or make a sale.
Yeah.
Also, within that you know uh, framework is the idea that you have maybe within um, the first 48 hours of meeting with someone, pitching them, giving them giving them your proposal, whatever, you have basically a 48-hour window to convert them. It probably varies depending on the industry and that kind of thing, but I think that's kind of like a general rule of thumb. And so that means that if you have not converted them within that 48-hour window, then it's going to be 6 months, if ever, that they're going to buy from you. So that means having that long term, nurture is going to be important. And I don't know about you, but I think I have forgotten about more people that are currently in my CRM. So, like,
Me too. Me too. So yeah, if you're depending on your memory, you're
yeah,
probably leaking leads left and right.
yeah,
And that can really cost you. So I was actually looking at some numbers the other day, and it was talking about how depending on the price of, say you're offering a high ticket, something high ticket, um, over like $5,000 for your offer, and you're leaking 2 to 3 leads a week. Um, that's what, $15,000 potentially that you've
yeah,
lost every week. That
yeah,
adds up. How much is
yep,
that a month?
yep.
How much is that a
And then,
year?
and then
That can really add up.
absolutely add to that the amount of time it takes to do manual follow-ups and
Mhm.
actually trying to remember these things. Um, that can add up because what is your time worth, right? What do you value your time at? And the way you do that is you figure out, I want to make this much by the end of the year. Okay, well, let's work our way backwards. How much is that broken down by hours, right? How many hours do you work? How many hours do you need to work in order to achieve that, et cetera, and thinking about it that way.
Right.
Well, you start looking at that and you're like, oh my gosh, all this time that
Like,
I
no
want to be
wonder I missed
making.
all my son's soccer games.
Yeah,
Like,
I
yeah.
want to, or I want to be making at least $150 an hour, but because I'm taking all this time to do this manual stuff, I'm making more like 30, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so
They
think
say
about that.
entrepreneurs are the only ones who will give up a 8 hour day job to work 12 hours or 14 hours a day in their own
Oh yeah.
businesses.
Uh-huh. That's one thing I
Yeah.
always said. Make especially when I first started, I'm making a lot less now than I was, but I'm a lot happier. So
I'm a lot happier. Exactly.
there's
Exactly.
trade-offs with everything. But um, okay, so okay, now the last little opportunity cost is lack of visibility. So if you are not able to see the things, right? If it's not universally available to your sales team, for example, all these notes about these individual people, you're going to make bad decisions, or it's going to lead to bad decisions
Yeah.
because people aren't going to have all the information they need to make a good decision, right? So think about
Right.
that
Just like
too.
we talked about with the pipelines, right? Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't without that information, you can't see, where people are getting stuck. And so you can't make the decision to follow up with certain people on about a specific thing, if you
yeah.
can't see your analytics, um,
Knowledge is
in
power,
plain
and
view.
knowledge is
Yeah. You
power.
don't,
Information is gold.
yeah, you can't see like which funnels are doing the best, and which lead
Yeah.
magnets, which offers are doing the best over others, so then you don't know like how to make a decision on what to focus on in your
Mhm.
business versus maybe it's possibly, letting something go that you don't need to be focused on.
Or who to prioritize, right? Who
That's
should I
true
be
too.
spending more time with, based on how much they're spending with me? You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, who's that 20% that's rising to the top?
hmm
Oh,
All right. And by not spending enough time with them, you could offend them and lead to bad decisions. All
right.
right. So let's go to next up. This is we're going to talk a little bit about how to rethink your CRM as a sales operating system. So it's not merely a contact database. Okay, this is your revenue command center. Okay,
Yes.
going
I
along with
love that term,
the
your
weapon.
revenue command center.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
This
So we're
sits in the
militaristic
war
about our
room.
CRMs around here.
Yeah, this is where it all happens, right? And you're the
Um,
commander, you're the general.
that's right. Okay, what a real sales operating system looks like. So first off, you have defined lead stages and statuses. That is your pipeline that we talked about earlier, right?
Mhm.
These have been defined. You
Well
have
defined,
automated,
absolutely.
yes, depending
Mhm.
on obviously your offer, it's going to be customized to you, whatever makes sense, but it's got to be better than cold, warm, and whatever
And
that
hot.
the pre and hot. Yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't really
that
tell you a
sounds
whole
great for
lot.
coffee, but
Yeah.
that's not great for your pipeline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good for Starbucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Automated follow-ups and task creation. We talked about that. Offload that manual stuff as much as
Mhm.
possible onto the machine. Let the machine do that for you, right? Imagine if we
And I
were
do
all
like,
still had to take our clothes down to the river and wash it with rocks, right?
yeah, it's very different from having that washing
Yeah.
machine in your house, a few
Yeah.
steps from you.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of focus in on a little bit on the task creation.
Yeah.
I love the whole idea of, as say you have an automation running and you may have a trigger link, and a trigger link is just a link that somebody clicks on that then kicks off another automation, and that other automation may depending on which trigger link your client or somebody clicked on, it can trigger a task for one of your team members to then do. So part of it's automated and part of it's delegated, but it's all part of a seamless system
Yeah.
that your automation manages based on, and you base it on the actions that your client or your prospect takes.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something that is so you can basically have assigned work to your team that based on what your prospects do, and you don't have to sit there and babysit and say, okay, let's have another meeting so we can dole out the assignments. You don't have to do that. Your CRM can do that for you. I think that's just such a
Yeah.
fantastic tool.
Like home services based businesses with crews out in the field,
Hmm.
having an automated round robin scheduler, for example.
Yes,
Whoa,
yes,
whoa. So you don't have
yes.
to say, okay, who's doing what and where are they?
Right.
The
And not one
calendar is
person
already
is
tied in.
overloaded with
Yeah, yeah,
all of the appointments. It
yeah,
spreads it out amongst your available people.
yep. Um, and going back to the automated follow-ups, you should not automate your follow-ups completely. Okay. Automation can be part of it, but there definitely needs to be manual intervention in there. Just a little caveat in there. Um,
You know what's
and
interesting is like,
yeah,
just like with the creating tasks for your team members, your automation can also help to facilitate that manual follow-up. Like say, okay, a person gets to a certain point, and it waits a while for them to reply. They don't
yeah,
reply. You can kick off a task to say, hey, call this person. And in mine, what it does, like you can have it set up where it will call the person and connect the call to you.
yeah. There's
So you
different
don't even have to
ways. Yes.
dial, but
Yeah.
it puts in that manual follow-up step in there among
Automate the
your automation
remembrance.
follow-up. Yeah,
Yeah.
automate
Automate
the
the remembering.
remembering. I love it. I love it because yeah, they say we can keep like 150 people in our
Yeah.
brains that
Right.
we stay contact with.
And like
Yeah, if
it's
you
like 5 tasks at a time, right? That's all we can remember.
yeah, if you've got like even just 500 people on your list, that's a lot of
Right.
people
That's overwhelming.
to
Yeah.
keep up with and stay in contact with. So yeah, let the automation help you.
Yeah. So when I going back to when I said, try to offload that manual stuff as much as possible. There's some you're not going to be able to. I just want to make
Yeah,
that
yeah,
clear. But there is some that you're going to be able to, and that is going to save you money, and that's going to reduce that optimism or the
yeah.
opportunity cost there. So anyway, Okay, dashboards. Having dashboards that surface real-time pipeline health. You know, something ain't right. This person has been in this stage for too long. The dash
Hmm.
or the pipeline notifies you, for example, and lets you know, like, oh, what's going on here with this guy? How come they're stuck here
Yeah.
in this pipeline
Yeah.
stage? Um, that goes back to automating the remembering, like, oh, I forgot to follow up with them. I got to get on that now.
Yeah.
Or when you come back from vacation, you see they're all stuck in one stage, and you have to, okay, I got to start working these through, right? Yeah. Um, all right. And part of that is the timeliness, right? Saying the right thing at the right time to the right
Right
people
time. Yeah.
can really make the difference. It's incredible.
That's why I always say like that personalization is so much more than sending an email with their first name in it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's great to get an email that says, "Hi Simone, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
But it's even more important to get a text or an email that says, "Hi Simone, I missed you at the webinar you signed up for last week, or you
Hmm.
signed up for yesterday. I
Hmm.
didn't see you." And that's hyper personalized.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can do that if you're tagging or if you've got them in a pipeline, if you're segmenting your list very well, then you can
Yep.
personalize your messages based on their actions or non-action.
Hmm. Okay. And then using notes, like we talked about earlier, very important. Having, you know, giving some context to this contact, talking about, how you met them. When's the last time you met them?
Mhm.
What's their favorite color? I don't know, like stuff like that, like crucial information that helps with that personalization, right?
Right, absolutely.
Tags can help with that, with some of that, the stuff. The notes is more lengthy, detailed information. Tags do help a lot with remembering where you first
Great for,
contacted them, help moving
yeah,
through the
it's great for
automations.
segmenting and kind
Yeah,
of
segmentation.
and recording preferences, maybe,
Yeah.
this person
Yes.
came through a webinar, this person's more interested in the book than the
Yeah.
course, that kind of thing.
This group over here are the most engaged with my newsletter, and so I'm going to
Hmm.
offer them something special, for example.
Yeah,
Um, Activity history, that goes along with that engaged bit, right? That can
right.
sometimes some CRMs actually track that and tell you automatically when the last time you contacted them. Sometimes you have to tell it that you want to remember that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
uh, it just depends
Tells
on the
you all the
CRM.
appointments
But
that they've set up with you,
yeah,
and you're seeing that, oh, they're clicking on all the funnels, they're opening all their
opening all your
emails,
emails.
they're
Yeah,
like, this is a very interested person, let's have a
yeah,
special conversation with them. Right.
yeah. Or offer them something special, right? Like send them a
Yeah,
special offer to see if
right. And then you have
that is
another
the thing.
person, right, you may be
Mhm.
sending them an email every couple of days and they don't open anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're very, very different prospects.
Hmm. Okay. I think that one of the most important things here is that you are, with creating turning your CRM into an operating system, sales operating system, setting an expectation, and how we're doing this in order to create leverage within the business and give us
Great
an
leverage,
opportunity.
absolutely. Without it,
Um,
like, yeah, you're trying to keep it all in your head or you're keeping it on spreadsheets that you're programming yourself. And
mhm.
um, yeah, you can be missing stuff and there's lots of leaks there. So having that CRM is just massive leverage.
Cutting down costs, improving efficiency, and having a single source of truth. Magic.
Hmm.
Um,
Wonderful.
all right, CRM. So how can we use a CRM to help drive sales? That's what we're talking about next. And Simone, you are deep into life cycle automations and that kind of thing.
I am.
So lifecycle segmentation can be that's an obvious A plus plus use of a CRM, right? And so what in the world does that mean exactly? What are we talking about there with that?
With the your life cycle. So every
Yeah.
prospect and every client that comes into your world is in a different is a different stage of working with you. I remember earlier we talked about the buyer's journey, and those are really prospects. Really, they're in those cold, warm, and hot stages.
Hmm.
And in that hot stage, or in the warm and hot stage, that's when they're really aware of you, and your they've come into your life cycle, starting from that attraction stage. But then you want to capture them, you want to nurture them, and that all leads up to the sales, converting them into that client. And even as clients, they're in different stages. Are they brand new clients? Have they been with you for a while? Have they purchased one thing or many things with you? Are they loyal? Are they just kind of just trying you out, right? They may have purchased your initial offer, and now you're ready to upsell them into the next offer. So yeah, every stage is different for every prospect and every client. And having a powerful CRM helps you to manage all of that, segment them into those proper stages, so that you can do that hyper personalization like I was talking about. You are um, each of their, like, one of the things that we missed earlier was like the triggering a campaign for, say, getting your lead magnet or your initial offer would be different than kicking off a campaign, triggering a campaign for, say, an upsell offer to a client
Right.
who's been with you for a little while. So
Yeah.
but having a powerful CRM that allows you to segment those, um, segment your prospects and your client into those different buckets is absolutely
Yeah.
golden.
Yeah. And so it goes back to the pipeline. Segmentation helps you put them into the different stages of the pipeline, perhaps. Um, it tells you about their behaviors that could be part of segmentation. But and the life cycle component for me, someone said it or described it to me as like it's the having control of the life cycle, and especially in your CRM, means that you have control of the path that they take with
Yes.
you in your business, right?
Right.
Once they've
You have
raised
to
their
set
hand,
up that path to
yeah,
success. How do they get success?
yeah.
Okay, well then this is your journey. This is the path you take.
And not
Yeah.
everyone is going to follow the same path, even within your business. And you have to
Right.
figure out where you want them to go. And based on maybe you have different levels of offers, like you mentioned an
That's
upsell.
true.
Maybe a client comes into your pipeline, and at that time they are ready to move forward, but only with something a little less, right?
Right.
Maybe they're
You may
trepidatious,
have,
but they don't really know
right.
the how well this is going to work. And so they're like, okay, well, I like you, I want to do business with you, so I'm going to give you a little bit of something, right? So let's do this thing over here. And that might
Mhm.
be your downsell, right? But later on, you know, that client could also, say, be have a great experience with you and want to, get even more value out of
Mhm.
the relationship. So at that point, then you could do the upsell, right? But
Yeah, you may end up with people who you may have, low ticket offers, mid-tier offers, and high ticket offers,
yeah,
and you may have clients in your business who stay at that low ticket. You
hmm
may have multiple low ticket offers that you offer them, or
hmm
a low ticket, kind of a low ticket continuity offer, like, say an online community that you offer them, and they just stay there, and they
yeah,
never come up into your mid tier or your high tier. There are some people who are just going to be like that, and then there are
I, li-
others who may say oh, I don't want the community thing. I just want your attention and your attention only. And here you go. I'm going to drop this $20,000.
Yeah.
You know, I want it done for me one-on-one. Right.
Yeah.
And they skip all the low ticket stuff and the mid-tier stuff
Yep.
altogether.
Exactly. That does happen.
You're going to have people that are like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so I think also with life cycle, just not to be a dead horse here, but is the idea that customers are arriving to you, into your sphere, let's say, from a lot of different places, and how they get there, kind of determines what the next step is too, right? So having that a clear vision of the path is crucial. Okay,
Yeah.
so another another way that CRMs can help drive sales is having those automated follow-ups that we talked about. Building the workflows. It doesn't necessarily have to be an email every time, right?
That's right. There's different types of follow-ups. So we mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing manual things like calling.
Uh-huh.
But your
Yeah,
your CRM can even help facilitate those things.
we've talked about it before. I've talked about it before, but there's this. I am a big fan of the sequence called the Agogi sequence, and Agogi is. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it is the name that was given to the Spartan Academy. That was the name that they gave the academies. They were called Agojis apparently, and so this is where the training grounds for the soldiers basically. And so if you kind of think about it in those terms, this is your opportunity. It's a very regimented sequence of actions that are being taken, and as their training was extremely regimented, right? And you are following the same path every time with every prospect. It doesn't matter, and it's multiple touch points along the way. So it's a LinkedIn
In different
DM,
ways. Yeah.
it's a phone call, it's an email, um, etc. And then it's different variations of that, and some of that can be automated, but a lot of it really needs to be manual. But so. Uh, but the automations help you remember which step to take next, and so that
Yes.
it's still a key feature. Um,
Yeah. And I think
and then
that's
this,
one of the great things about automation is that even if you are even if you have manual steps along in your process, it helps to keep you consistent because the automation doesn't forget.
right,
You
exactly,
know?
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's easy to forget one of the steps. It's that this is the reason why nurses and pilots use checklists, right?
Yes.
They've been doing it for
Yes.
years and years and years, and they still use checklists,
And they
so
still
they
use a
don't forget.
checklist every single time, right?
Yeah, same idea. Okay, sales task queues. So, going back, don't forget what we're doing next, the different tasks that are involved in the sales process.
Automated remembering.
Yes, automated remembering. You might have to, there's certain things that you have to do, as far as part of the sales process, you have to make sure that the customer gets the proposal. You have to build the proposal, for example. That might be part of the tasks, um, so on and so forth. There's a lot of little things in there, but things that salespeople don't like to remember, and they just want to be out there talking to people, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot
The
of
proposals, that's the annoying admin part.
yeah, the admin
You need a
part. You
secretary
try
for, huh?
try to minimize the manual on that as much as possible, but sometimes it's not avoidable. But yeah, secretaries, that would be useful. Um, And okay, so lead scoring, going back to your cold, warm, hot, that's really what lead scoring is, right? That tells you, gives them a number, basically. It could be, I've seen it different ways. It could be a number, it could be a number of flames, you know,
Temperature, yeah.
right? If it's 5 flames, then they're super hot, ready to go, right? But if it's like
All
one
right.
flame, then they're, kind of lukewarm.
Mm.
And it just depends on the actions that they take, how they came to you, how they arrived to you. If it's somebody click on an ad, right, they might be on that low end of warm, right? Because okay, yeah, they took that action, but are they really, have they been qualified? As they go along, and as you've met with them and asked them questions, then it becomes more, okay, yeah, they're definitely qualified and they're ready to go. That increases
Right.
the score. Lead or real-time dashboards, knowing your numbers and your bottlenecks. I think we talked about that. Knowing where people get stuck in the pipeline and figuring out a way to fix that, right? Can't make those decisions if you don't
Absolutely.
have the data, if you don't have the information. All right. So that is how CRMs can help drive sales. All right. Let's look at, do we have any real world examples? We've kind of talked about them as we've gone along here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few. I worked with, and it's not really a part of the high level CRM, which I love, is the community aspect. Um, I worked with a coach, or she wasn't. Well, yeah, I guess she's a coach now. She's a therapist and a natural health practitioner, and she wanted to work with her work with her clients rather than one-on-one, save some time because she has children. She had 3 kids, and one of her children is an entrepreneur herself, and so she spends a lot of time helping her with her business, and so she needed to kind of convert her business over to a group program. So so we set up an online community within the high level platform, and brought over her clients into that. And now, rather than meeting with everybody one on one, she does a live stream with them once a week, and um, saves her so much time, and increased her revenue 300%.
Nice.
So she's like super duper excited about that. And with the CRM, she's able to automate the sending out reminders for these events, these live streams, setting up courses that people can take, and then she can talk to them in a group on the live streams, and also automate posting in the online community.
Hmm.
So so you never forget to post, right? It's the posts are going out, which
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I really love about it. Um, for me, I love the pipeline because I can look at it at a glance and kind of see where I have a lot of people kind of waiting over here and what I need to do. And that's really great for decision making,
Hmm.
and for tracking your leads. And it's also great for my follow-ups. Like, I always tell people about my long-term nurture sequence. It's I call it my forever nurture, and I actually learned it from and I'm forgetting the guy's name, but I learned it from somebody else where you put your content into the email sequence, and it's emails, but then I can also put in SMSs. And what I do, I tell the stories and give the tips and all the things you do in a long-term nurture sequence, but then I also put in check-ins along the way. And the check-ins are the things that have become the most popular. I'll just It's just a note that goes out to them, whether it's email or text message, and tell people, hey, how you doing? What's going
Hmm.
on in your world? And I get a flood of responses back. People really, really like that. They like,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, she's contacting me and she's not trying to sell me something. This is great.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah.
So they really
Somebody,
like that.
especially when it comes to sequences, I heard somebody describe it as you have to make 2 or 3 deposits before you make a withdrawal.
Hmm.
As far as an automated sequence goes. You want to
Yeah.
provide that value before you ask for something in return.
Was it Gary Vaynerchuk who wrote that book, Jab, 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 Right Hook? Your jab, jab, jab. That's your giving. Give, give, give.
uh-huh.
And then make the ask.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I've, just as a case in point, an example of somebody that has not implemented a CRM yet necessarily. They have a sales team of at least 3, and they were adding on one more last time I talked to them. But no CRM, no single source of truth when it comes to having data on these clients. That it's all inside the salesman's heads, and so they get hit by a bus, all that's gone, all
Oh
that
my goodness.
information, right? And what are you going to do there, right? It's just kind of, you're starting over from scratch, which is,
Yeah.
it takes
Which is
time
time
to get back up
consuming
to
and
speed.
costly.
Yeah, that's costly. That costs money because it's a lot of time that didn't need to happen, didn't need to be taken,
Yeah.
had all this information already been available to other people within the business that could easily pick up where the other one left off.
Yeah.
And there's something, I guess, to be said for job security and people being paranoid about sharing information because that makes them disposable.
Yeah.
And I think in certain circumstances that's probably true, but those are the types of places you don't want to work for anyway. So think about
Exactly.
that. Put it that way.
Exactly.
Um, so anyway, all right. So question: Is your CRM working for you or against you? Um, here's some questions to ask yourself. Are your leads segmented and categorized? Do you have automated workflows running? Can you track the lead status of each of your leads at a glance? Does your CRM trigger daily actions for you or your team? And are you using reports to improve your sales performance? If not, you have a contact list. It's not a sales engine.
No.
So, yeah.
Mm,
All right. So let's wrap up here. Just to recap real quickly, most CRMs are underutilized because there's no strategy involved. Um, and having the right CRM set up and having it set up properly does create leverage, speed, and insight. You can get started by mapping your pipeline and automating your follow-up. Think about the 3 things that you need to have automated in your business right now and get those automated stat. Okay.
yeah. And what that pipeline should look like. Like what's that clear path to success for your client and for your team, you know?
Yeah. And
And
if you
start putting that together.
if you out there viewers listening need help with that, get in touch with us and we can do an automation audit within your business and do an automation strategy, help you think through those top 3 things that you need to have automated in your business. All right, so that's it, I think, from my standpoint. Anything else?
That's it. If you feel like, I don't need an audit, just help me to map this whole thing out. We
Yeah.
can help you do that too.
Oh
Just
yeah,
give us
sure.
a call. Yeah, or
Yep. There,
schedule a call with us. So
check
can
the
help
link
you
in
do that.
the description for the growth ceiling assessment if you want to figure out what stage your business is in and what steps to take next as well. So that'll help you.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And like we said at the top, put in the comments, like, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you learn here today? What CRM are you using? And are you using more 20% of it, 8% of it? And how's it working for you? Let us know. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping by.